Hey guys, welcome to Tarot and Heal. Welcome to the place where we tarot and heal away to self-love and unity consciousness. Welcome to the new moon in Aries reading. Let's get started. I come to you, humbly God, thanking you for your divine guidance, providing messages of divine light, divine love in accordance with the divine will. How can we work our light for this new moon cycle? Okay. We have inner temple, devotion, tune into the portal of the heart. Transformation and leap. Okay. So transformation, things are changing on a cellular level, deep healing. And then we have leap. You go first, the universe will catch you. All right. This is definitely telling the story here. Of going from inaction to major action, all right? So this card is of meditation, of going within, let's say spiritual healing, emotional healing, whatever, or just tuning in, tapping in and getting directions. This is about transforming into the person that you need to be in order to make these directions happen. And then actually taking action and making these things happen for yourself. When I say direction or instructions, I'm talking about your divine instructions, all right? Getting in touch with whatever your actual path is. Getting in touch with your higher self, truest desires. There's a need for quiet time. So if you've already been working on something, you might be led to take a little bit of a break, right? So that you can revitalize and get into alignment or more alignment than you already are, all right? Or to switch gears. So let's keep it going. What have we released? What have we released since the full moon? Okay, you have the Queen of Pentacles coming out. The Queen of Pentacles, I like to call it the Beyonce card. The card of standing on your own too. The card of independence, all right? It's coming out that Seven of Swords in reverse. All right. So we know that the Seven of Swords is not the coolest card in the deck, right? That Seven of Swords can be shady mindsets, all right? Shady people. Yeah, this is a thing that needed to be released. The Seven of Swords coming out with the Death card, all right? Shadow energy. I was talking about that before. The shadow energy and the desires that were rooted in our ego as opposed to what's rooted in our higher self. I already spoke about that with the last moon reading, right? So it seems as if in this time we should have probably identified these false desires and moved on with the Eight of Cups, all right? That was the opportunity there. The things that we were tied into that stopped us from stepping into our bliss, okay? Whether you're able to actually drop it right then and there or not, I don't know if that's realistic to say, right? But I think it's a matter of identifying what probably needs to fade out, okay? And then it starts the slow death process, okay? So the Eight of Cups, this is moving away from things that are just not quite right. So it's like we were working towards things that filled up 8 of our cups as opposed to filled up 10 of our cups, right? 10 of Cups being emotional fulfillment. It could be emotional fulfillment with someone else, all right? The Nine of Cups, which is like a single wish fulfillment, right? But yeah, either way, it was neither one of them. Okay, so it's like something that we were working towards. It just didn't quite fit. It just wasn't quite right. Okay, it just didn't quite do it for you, and it's time to walk away to better. All right, refining the standards, fine-tuning your energy. All right, so that you can move on to the 9 of Cups, wish fulfillment, then 10 of Cups, emotional fulfillment that you're sharing with someone else because you've already learned how to fill up your own cup with the 9 of Cups. All right. Where are we now? So we have this 4 of Swords coming out. Back to that energy of resting before leaping. It's like before we take this journey, because it looks like this guy is ready to take a journey somewhere, right? He got the hood on, he has a staff. It looks like he's about to walk into the wilderness. Now, the thing about this 8 of Cups too is usually something that we're walking away from that's kind of already established, all right? Sorry. So it's walking away from something that's already established. You see how they're all lined up so perfectly here, right? But it's still something missing. So this could be established job, an established career path, an established relationship, or established, family ties, whatever the case is. But it just wasn't quite right. And it seems like in order for someone to, before going on this journey, it's like before going on this 10-hour road trip, you have to take the night to really get a good rest, right? Before going on this journey. It seems like this is what's happening here. This is the stage that we're about to be in, where we got to kind of rest up, okay? Back to the story of inaction, transforming, right? And then taking that leap, taking that action. It's revving up your engines, but more so revving up our energy, all right? And becoming the person that we need to become to take this leap. All right. Okay, let me finish. The person that we were when we were going for these 8 of Cups type of desires, these things that weren't really quite doing it for us, but we were going for it because whatever our ego, whatever desire filled, ego-wise. The person that we were in pursuit of this 8 of Cups desire is not the person that we're going to be when we take this leap. All right? That's what we're being prepared for. That's the process that we have to do. We have to undergo. All right? So we can step more into this Queen of Pentacles energy. All right, so I'm saying all that to say because we have this 4 of Swords coming out along with the 6 of Swords. There's this energy of detangling from the 8 of Cups level of desire. There's a need to detangle from this, especially because it's something that probably already has roots, something that you've already fed a lot of energy into. So it's going to take a while. It's a slow death process. It's going to take a while before you can actually pack up, and go into the wilderness, whatever that is for you. The 6 of Swords is another card of moving forward. Like this is a card of a new chapter in the journey, right? I don't feel like this is just exclusive to the new moon in Aries cycle. I feel like this is where it begins. So you might get bit with a dreamer bug or, whatever the case is, realizing the false desires, the false 8 of Cups level desires, and then identifying what a 9 of Cups life looks like, right? or identifying what a 10 of Cups relationship looks like for you, all right? But I feel like this is more of a solo journey. So even if you're in a relationship, whatever the case is, this is a matter of what will make you happy for you in general, overall, not just with relationships, all right? So that's Six of Swords. That's about moving forward to calmer waters, as people like to say, okay? And with that Four of Swords is taking that break to do so. This might include travel. It's definitely movement. It's definitely a jump from one you to the next. That's what I feel. I feel like it's a jump. It's definitely a leap. It's traveling, and it's a transformation. It's a whole journey getting to the person that you need to be to take the actual leap that you're meant to take. There might be some resistance towards that, by the way, all right? As we see the truth here, Ace of Swords here, yeah. There might be some resistance to the truth that, hey, something's kind of missing and I need to move on to my real Nine of Cups life, my real wish fulfillment. So this might, facing this truth, that's where the work comes in, all right? Realizing how much you probably need to course correct, all right? You have this Ace of Wands coming out. Like knowing what your true passion is, knowing where your heart really lies, okay? Knowing what it is that you've always wanted to do, for example. Knowing what type of love you've always wanted, you know, that type of thing. It seems like there's going to be some resistance to that because it's like I have this lined up so nicely. This is my plan. I have my plan lined up. Now you're telling me to go off course, you know. All right. So that's where the transformation begins. And then your desires will be rooted in more truth as opposed to societal standards or whatever the case is, what your family might think or whatever. All right. What is emerging within us right now? Because yeah, it might cause a little bit of confusion, okay? That might be where the resistance comes in. It might be resistance. It might come off as confusion, but it's really just resistance. You're resisting the idea of this was a false desire to begin with. So then you might feel confused, like, well, I don't know what to do now. I don't know which way to go. It might give this energy of feeling lost, but that's not it. It's just because we've been holding on to this for so long. It's like, what does this look like? What does a Nine of Cups world look like? I thought this was Nine of Cups. I thought this was the dream life, whatever I was planning towards. I thought I was experiencing it, or at least working towards it. So now you're saying that there's more. What is more? I can't even fathom that. And it's like you can't fathom that in this mindset that you're in right now, because the idea of a perfect love, oh gosh. The idea of, all right. The idea of a perfect love, for example, is based on whatever you was raised to believe. It's been shaped by your experiences, the examples that you've seen. So you planned and you wanted to create. We're going to stick with love. But obviously this will apply to every aspect. This is really about every aspect of our lives. But let's talk about love. So you have this idea, you set up this standard. You set up this plan, this standard, based on this unhealed part, you know? So it's like, okay, I got my heart broken. I'm going to make sure that when I meet someone, they have to be able to do this, that, and that, so I know that they're the one. But really that's coming from an unhealed part where you're just trying to make sure, like, I want to make sure I just won't get hurt again. So now I have these standards. Obviously it's good to have standards, but it's saying the level, the type of standards or the type of plans, however, whatever the vision we had for love, for example, it was skewed and rooted in our shadow, right? So once we go into a more healed perspective, we'll be able to clear out some of that muck, some of those standards that we might have, or the boxes that need to get ticked off. And then really get to standards that are rooted in a strong foundation. Really build standards that can create a solid love, that can create the actual type of love that your higher self wants. All right. So we have the Seven of Cups. Feeling that confusion. It's like, okay, if this isn't love, then what the fuck was I experiencing all this time, for one? And two, what does this new love look like? It's from this new perspective, from this new healed perspective. All right. Obviously the healing journey continues. We continue to peel back layers and heal, if you're on that journey. But it's with this new layer being peeled back, with this new realization of chasing after something or having these specific desires and realizing it wasn't really aligned with your true self. It really wasn't, the motivation behind those desires, it wasn't based in your authenticity, okay, or your authentic path. It's kind of hard to see outside of that because you lived in those parameters for so long. So that's where the transforming of you has to happen. The identity shift. What does this new me like now? What does this new me need to feel loved? All right. What makes me feel satisfied in my career? Whew. Man. All right. Star card. Yeah. What feels like a soulmate? What is soul tie energy? What makes me feel like I'm in alignment? All right. So some of us might have had this struggle idea of what love looked like, or the struggle idea of what it means to be a soulmate. Especially with this twin flame thing, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people feel like, well, it's just, I have to do all the work, or I have to take this all on, especially if somebody is more spiritually inclined than the other and they recognize a twin flame dynamic or whatever the case is, or they recognize it as a soulmate energy. Someone might decide, well, in soulmate relationships, you just have to deal with it and work it out, and eventually it'll turn around because you're my soulmate and it has to work, That type of attitude, that's an example, but that type of attitude is what caused these major struggles, in things that you thought were aligned. Now, a more evolved, let's say more healed perspective can lead us to believe, hey, soulmate or not, if they're not ready to love me, in an aligned manner, in a healthy manner, then I need to do myself, it's my due diligence to move on, And that's coming out with the Star card. There's a need to understand what it means to be aligned. Wow. All right. That's what needs to be healed. Jeez. Oh gosh, here we are. With that Three of Swords, a heartbreak, okay? This cycle, we kept ourselves trapped in this cycle. So yes, because somebody was like, okay, I want to avoid this pain, so this is how I'm going to moving forward in love, you know. It had us trapped in a specific mindset that just kept us in struggle situations. Because we had this skewed perception on alignment and soulmates or whatever the case is. But now that sort of truth is coming out. And it's calling us out on our shit. Like, hold up. Now, we know that don't make no sense. You know you don't be sticking around. You don't stick around for a soulmate just because you have a connection with them, okay? And now it's also about this idea of what does a connection feel like, right? You can meet someone and feel so drawn to them, right? And I think I mentioned this in like a past reading or whatever, how that is sometimes a trick where we feel so drawn to someone and we're like, I don't know, it's something about them, it's the universe, you know, when it's really like they feel so familiar on a deeper spiritual level because they might be a mirror to the dysfunction that you've probably seen in the past. So it's time to adjust, check ourselves. That truth is coming through. This is tough. This is going to cause some resistance. Some of you guys are going to be like, fuck out of here, but whatever. It's going to take a while to uncover this and really like, what are my ideas of love? Where did it come from, right? Did I see that? Like, if I had like, if my parents showed an example of love that was dysfunctional, right? And then I wind up choosing people unknowingly who kind of fed that idea of love back to me. They feel very familiar. They feel like home. But if my idea of home was dysfunctional, then I don't need to be feeling home, right? So that's the thing. And it's a matter of, what does alignment feel like for you? What does it feel like to feel at home with someone? Is it a healthy perception of love? If you're used to being in an environment, and I can speak on this here. If you're used to being in an environment that makes you feel anxious all the time, and then you move into a place that's more calm, it's going to take a while for you to get in this space where you're like, okay, all right, I can be calm, you know, calm is good, you know, as opposed to, no, I need to be anxious about something, right? It will feel weird to go from, that level of dysfunction to a level of calm. So it'll also feel weird to experience dysfunctional love and then experience the high vibe love that your higher self wants you to experience. This is why the transformation of us needs to happen, so that we can go from the dysfunction and properly experience and appreciate the high vibe love. We have to transform ourselves to appreciate that before it comes in. All right? Oof. Golly. All right now. This is about a fucking freaking tower. This energy got me a little amped. It got me a little amped up. All right, what do we wish to grow? All right, what do we wish to grow ultimately? What does the higher self wish to grow? Queen of Swords, all this sword energy. We need to look at things from that logical perspective. The logical perspective would be, yes, I have a connection with this person, but what is our connection based on? Is it based on my unhealed part? Is my shadow connecting with this person, or is my higher self connecting with this person? Either way, they're a soulmate, right? Either way, we have different levels to these soulmates out here, all right? And this is just my personal belief system. The soulmates that we meet are a mirror of where we're at spiritually right here and right now. Okay, so now you meet, so we have the low vibe ones. If we're predominantly in our shadow, if our shadow desires are more dominant in our stage, in the stage that we're in right now, then we're gonna meet more of those low vibe ones. They're still gonna feel like a connection. They're still gonna feel like home, right? But you have to know that, okay, this isn't healthy, right? And then as we go through this healing process, we start lifting our vibration more and more. Then we start meeting better quality ones, and it keeps going up, okay, until we find the 10 of Cups. That's my theory, all right? Anyway, I'm saying all that to say, it takes some of the magic needs to be pulled out of the soulmate title, twin flame title, because it's making people deal with some bullshit. All right, so it's great to have the spiritual aspect to it and to appreciate the magic of love. Love is magical. Love is beautiful. We're also humans. We're also dealing with other humans. We still all have our psyches to deal with on a very human, grounded perspective, and we need to be very logical about that too. All right, not all soulmates are created equal. All right, so what are you attracting? Because that's a mirror. So, all right. So, what do we wish to grow? Is that clarity? Queen of Swords. Ultimately, our higher self is guiding us with this sword of truth. It wants us to see the truth of our alignment or our misalignment and learn how to course correct immediately, okay? Just doing what we have to do to transform into the person that can accept the higher level stuff. The Queen of Swords, they move. They take action. They do what they have to do. They understand what's going on in the situation. They're grounded. They're going to look at the good, bad, and the ugly of the situation and say, you know what? All right. I have to cut my losses here, or this is where my energy, where it serves me to put my energy, so on and so forth. Is being very clear cut. Sometimes with, just, it can sometimes be cold too, okay? But seeing things with such clarity, it just allows for the healing to come through quicker, okay? It allows for this false confusion, because I do feel like there's confusion, but it's really just resistance to the old. It's the ego battling for itself, okay? This, whatever you've been doing for so long, it's the ego saying like, no, you still want these desires, and it's really not true. It's not aligned. Wheel of Fortune coming out. This is what's on the line, that upgrade, okay? Fortunate new cycle. And it has to be. We're moving on to 9 of Cups, 10 of Cups energy. Moving on to your true wish fulfillment. Not the false, right? Not what we thought was a wish fulfillment. What we came here on this earth to actually experience. Like that wish fulfillment. Yeah, see, there's that confusion coming out, but see, with the 5 of Cups, it's really like, it's just resistance towards the letting go of the old. It's like the regret, you don't want to feel the regret of knocking these things down with a bowling ball. Like, look how pretty they're all set up. Why would I knock this down, All right. What else we got going on here? And where are we? 2855. Psst, I know that's right with the 55. $55 is all about them changes. That's definitely Tower moment energy. All right. So how can we bring our goals into fruition? High Priestess. Get into alignment with your actual true desires. Like, what are you here born to do? And it's time to really start thinking like that. What type of love do you really want to experience? And it might surprise you. It might take you out of, what you're Not might, it will. Okay. You might really think about it like, huh, I'm actually polyamorous. Whatever the case is, all right? Without the Nine of Pentacles. This is a solo journey, all right? It isn't, and people will be affected by this, by your growth, by your transformation, all right? By this shift as you take this leap, in preparation of this leap, because right now I feel like we're in a time of preparation. We're in a time of shedding skin, okay? That's going to be a process there. But yeah, this new seed of passion, this new fire is being lit as a result. All right. I'm going to the blockages, what we're feeling to see, then we're out of here. Okay. Oops, sorry. All right. Blockages. What's the blockages here? I forgot about that part, the heartbreak. And Three of Swords coming out. This is the ego protecting itself. The Three of Swords coming out with that Six of Wands. The Six of Wands can be a card of ego, all right? It's just going into self-protection mode. It's like, look, we built up these walls. We built up these plans. We built up whatever the standard is or these desires, okay? We built this up to protect ourselves from being hurt. But now it's becoming a barrier to what you actually are supposed to experience. Whatever your coping mechanism was, or whatever that was, is being shut down now. The ego is now fighting for it to stay alive. But it's a false sense of security. Yeah, it does. It's coming with regret and disappointment, because it's like, I thought I was on the right path. I mean, oof, look at that. Like I said, this is a card of the ego. Then we have the death card coming out. The death of an ego. That is what we're going through. So that you can step into butterfly mode. Step into Empress mode. All right? Getting more abundance than you had before. Whatever the ego that we've had, that we're being led to break out of, it just caused more struggle than we needed to experience. All right? So it's time to kill that thing off. Whoever you were before, it's time to kill that thing off, okay? This definitely has this energy of identity shift, and it's crazy because I just journaled about this for myself, all right? I mean, me moving out here, like me talking about leaving dysfunction and being in a peaceful state and having, like that, I'm living that shit right now. Like having to get used to a new level of peace, okay? And then having to get used to your personality shift as a result of this piece. And then the realization of, oh, my personality before was based on dysfunction. I was coping with dysfunction, and that became my personality. But it wasn't my true personality. It was just me. It was a version of me who was just trying to cope with dysfunction. Now, and that is causing like a major identity shift. That is causing this crazy transformation All right? That's allowing me to leap for more than I ever would have before, right? Leaving my shadow behind. Look at that. So, this is an ego death. So, as I mentioned with the last moon reading, new desires might come up. Aries, oh yeah, Aries actually had this energy for April. Okay, so maybe everybody should probably watch the Aries reading, because that is literally what this reading is here too. So Aries is probably really going to feel it. But yeah, it's just talking about an identity shift. See, it fucking lost me. I just forgot what the Aries reading was about, but it's talking about this here. Leaving the old you behind, being a new you, shedding your skin, so on and so forth. All right. That's what I was saying in the Aries reading. There is an energy of working towards being a doctor, right? You're doing this ish, you're studying for years, and then you decide, you know what? I want to be a painter. And it's like you're already damn near at the end, or you put in all this energy in, you have these loans piled up, you put all this energy and investment into this path just to at the end see like, my heart is not in this at all. It actually never was. I actually always wanted to be a painter, but because my parents told me that painting or the art career is not respectable, I decided to go for this respectable career, and then having that epiphany right there at the end. Like, oh shit, I just spent a lot of time pursuing a path that was not rooted in my truest desires, pursuing a path that was based in a false sense of self, my false ego, my shadow. And then it's having to detangle yourself from that path that was already established and just shift. And it's not a just shift, but it's a journey into shifting. It's a nudge into this new path. And it's a lot. It's a transformation for sure. Watch the Aries reading. I believe it's Aries or Sag. I think it's Aries. It's Aries, okay? But that's the energy here, all right? This is not going to happen overnight. But yeah, so as I mentioned, it's going to come with like new desires. You might have new hobbies, you know, or people you're just not vibing with anymore. I feel like it's more so like new desires coming up, all right? This Ace of Swords just keep coming out like, look, we're going to get you on the right path, all right? Come hella high water, we're going to get you on this right path now. We're going to have you experiencing the truth. We're going to have you experiencing your authentic path, the thing that you're supposed to be doing here. That's what we're failing to see. It's so much resistance to seeing the truth. Because there's so many layers to this ego. There's so many layers why we built ourselves up to going down this path or believing that we should do this, you know, do whatever it is. Oh, God. And it's just the realization, like, I was this off for this long. Like, I was really living in untruth all this time. Everything, I put all this investment into a farce. Like, come on, that's crazy. You know, just to know that you didn't see clearly all this time. That is going to lead to, like, some people might want to ignore that. It's a new world. It's a new day. It's a new life, all right? We're all going through this. We're all in this boat. We're all being given this opportunity. So find solace in that. Do not beat yourself up for that. The regret is definitely coming out. The heartbreak and all that is definitely coming out. But you need to understand that we are all going through this collectively, because we're all collectively meant to get up out of whatever we built up, whatever we thought we had going on, and get on our path. is time. All right? And it does lead to major upgrades with the World card and the Wheel of Fortune coming out. This is beautiful stuff. With that Ace of Wands coming out too. It's like you're going on a path that you really, really are going to love. Not fake love, not something you use trying to work yourself into loving, or you trying to learn to love that thing. So this is good. What's the advice? It's just going to lead to a major ego death and identity shift. That's the advice. Yep. Wait, didn't that strength card come out somewhere? Oh, whatever. Could have sworn I saw the strength card before. All right, but yeah. Here we are with that strength card. Strength card. 4 of Cups in reverse. 9 of Pentacles in reverse, all right? It's not that the ego death is not going to be an easy process, all right? You're going to have to rewire how you look at yourself. As I mentioned, like my process of like, oh, that wasn't really who I was. I was acting out of my shadow. Oh my gosh. Who am I then? You know, that's what's happening here. Oh man, I wasn't really in love with that career. What actually makes my heart sing with love? Like, I was never really into this relationship to begin with. This relationship never really emotionally fulfilled me. What gives me emotional fulfillment now? These are some really huge questions that's going to cause some major shifts. It's not going to be easy. There's a need to stay grounded, all right, with the strength card coming out. This is why the quiet time is needed to really do that soul searching. And obviously, I can't go through this reading without mentioning journaling. This is one time to journal if there ever was one, all right? There's a need to reflect on what you've been, what your desires were, and what your desires are now. My eyes keep watering up. Freaking allergies. But yeah, this is a solo thing, all right? This is something that you have to do for you. Now, with that Nine of Pentacles keep coming out, this is just emphasizing the independence of thought that's going to come out of this, that needs to come out of this, where you're trying to figure out what your new desires are without the influence of other people. Who are you without the influence of other people? Who are you when you're just by yourself? Who's that person? Okay? And what does that person want? Also, what is a higher vibe, more healed version of that person too? And what does that higher vibe person want? Getting in touch with your higher self here. All right? Taking some quiet time when you need to, so you can get this independent thought going and you don't have the influence of other people. You're not spitballing ideas with other people like, hey, because these are people who already knew the old you. They don't have the vision of the new you as you would have it. So you can't really bounce those ideas off of people like that right now. This is an internal process. It's you and your higher self. Have that conversation this time, all right? We talked a lot about shadow work or getting in touch with your shadow self, and now it's time to get in touch with your higher self, which is exciting. That's lovely because it's going to change the game for us. All right, let's see what the power animal is. 43, 46. Oh my gosh. Lion spirit just flew, but I'm not going to pick that up. Lion spirit, be generous of spirit. Wolf spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. This is about reflecting on your old desires and then learning from that and building on that to create new desires. Realizing what the old you wanted and what mindset you was in when you had those old desires and the new you, right? This what your shadow side, what type of person did they like? What type of person made them excited, right? What were they attracted to in that old stage? As opposed to a more healed perspective. Now you might be looking at people differently, right? You might be looking for different things in people from this more wise perspective. That's what needs to happen, at least. People, things, your activities, your job, everything has to be looked at through this lens of wisdom, of this new sense of self. Squirrel spirit, believe in yourself. So this is an energy of revving up your energy, revving up your spirit, so you could take this leap into this new you and these new desires that this new you wants. You're jumping from one ego to a new ego, pretty much, okay? So older ego and then a more functional ego, or a more authentic one. All right, one that's more aligned. And speaking of independence, okay, you keep talking about independent thought, moving in the world with a lack of influence of others on like your path, knowing what your path is. That's why there's a need to get in touch. Get in touch with your star player, get in touch with your higher self. So nobody could tell you like this isn't your path, you know? You have to get that clarity of thought. So nobody can come in, challenge it, all right? Star for spirit, be open to possibilities. Yeah, some new things are going to open up. New desires, new ways of thinking, new ways of loving, new ways that you want to be loved, okay? Having more of an idea of what makes you feel fulfilled. It's going to be some new things coming through, new desires coming through, all right? All right. And it's also that you can build on solid ground. So whatever you build moving forward is built on authenticity. This might bring on a purge too. That's what I'm feeling, because this is such a huge energy release, and it might not happen all at once. As I keep mentioning, I do feel like this is the beginning of this process, the beginning of the death of your ego, before you jump into this new ego. But this is really interesting. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Add me on IG, that's Tarot and Heal. If you want a personal reading, please check out that info box below. If you want to be an angel donor, please check out that Patreon link below. All right. Thank you so much, and until we meet again, peace.